Welcome to the Brothers and Sisters podcast. This is what's coming up next, so stay tuned.
Man, children are going to stop you from living your best life. You can't bring the baby onto the yacht.
God bless you.
We are now in 2021 where I'm seeing a lot of things, but a lot of things where I'm like, wow, I didn't think I'd see that. Abortion is now viewed as morally acceptable by a majority of the country for the first time since Gallup began tracking it, 47-46. This issue is particularly fraught not only by age, but by race also. This is one of those things where you talk about where Black people are socially conservative, not only African Americans, Ranties, native Nigerian, but I know enough Nigerians know how conservative they are on certain issues, and this is
not just certain issues.
Generally,
not just certain issues.
This is generally overall, right?
All the issues.
So, I mean, I don't want to say I rejoiced or was ecstatic about it or whatever, but I'm somebody who says it's, as long as if it's not out of the womb, like you do whatever it is you want to, right? So that's right up to birth or whatever. But I also understand, and Walter and I talk about this a lot on this other thread that we're on. It was actually a podcast that turned to thread. You got to know where you are, particularly within the Black community, right? I know I am way to the left of where most Black people are when it comes to abortion, when it comes to immigration too, but especially abortion. What do you guys think? When you think about your parents, you think about your background. A lot of us grew up in the I didn't, but a lot of Black people did grow up in the church, in a Black church or whatever. What do we think about this? Is this a good thing? Is it a thing?
Yeah, it is.
How do we feel about it?
There is no part of the man's body that is legislated. Therefore, there should be no part of the woman's body that is legislated. Period. Full stop. Especially by a group of men.
You've been clear about this. Yeah.
I'm pretty resolute. I just don't think that even if the man wants to keep the baby, it doesn't matter, right? It's your body. You're the one that got to carry it.
Yeah.
There's no decision that the man has. He has no choice.
Yeah, as I don't think it's a question of morality. Like that's an individual.
Exactly.
Choice. Even if a person doesn't think it's moral, it's not their business.
It's not your business.
It's not your business. If a person feels like it's the right choice for them,
it's the right choice for them.
Stay out of it.
I would say, like, growing up Catholic, honestly, so I may be different. I'm very pro-choice. I'm pro-life for myself. Mm-hmm. Like from the moment that I knew I was pregnant, there was no option. That's just how I feel. But I believe we have the right for choice. My argument for abortion is anyone who's actually considering or has to make this decision, it's not something that's done lightly. And working in the child welfare system, I'm very honest when I say I'd much rather have wanted children than the children we're working with.
Yeah.
Because that's the answer for me for abortion. Like, if you don't want abortion, then we shouldn't be begging for foster care parents.
I was going to go to you because you have that background. You're dealing with a lot of at-risk young girls or whatever, where this may be a real issue, a real concern. I also want to examine that pro-life for myself, pro-choice for everybody else. That seems interesting. I think that might be where not a lot of women, but where at least a lot of Black women that I know come down on. I personally wouldn't have an abortion, but like, I'm not against abortion. Is that too much of a characterization? Is that fair to say?
No, but I also think that is also part of where we are, all of us in our journey. We're all educated. It's a choice, right? So if we have the luxury and the privilege that if we were to have an unplanned pregnancy, we could make the decision to keep it, to not keep it, right? And it would be a decision we'd make, but we could move on. I think the challenge that I have about abortion in general, and I'm just thinking about this from the group session we did today about relationships with teenagers, is the use of pregnancy as a relationship binder, right? And how many of the girls that I speak to think that abortion is something that they absolutely could never do, yet at the same time to seem to be very morally opposed to using condoms or being on birth control.
Right.
And then we also have a group of men who, and this is of course not the men in this group, who seem to think that it's powerful to be very fertile and to make babies everywhere. So there are lots of issues there. I mean, we have a boy in one of our groups who's 17 and has 4 kids, and it's his favorite thing to do. He likes to make babies. That's what he said. He likes to have his kids. He didn't take care of them.
So now you're
So
getting
many questions, but
like here's the thing for me, right? You know, my wife and I, we had difficulty conceiving, right? So, so we're hopefully planning in the next 12 months to adopt, maybe.
yeah.
Awesome.
But you know, the challenge is exactly what you're saying. Is women who have the ability, they think of it as it's not for me. But then the other side is I don't care if anybody else does it. But then my clients that I see on a daily basis, right? Because I'm like the barbershop or the beauty salon.
Yeah.
I hear it all, right?
Yeah.
I got a client right now. She got 5 kids.
Mm.
27.
On purpose?
27. Yeah, on purpose. She said her ex-husband thought that, and it's kind of right with what you're just saying, thought that the way to keep her was to keep her pregnant. So yeah, I know.
Why? Because it's a lot of hormones. What?
5 children, and I see it in like, how do you take care of 5 kids if you're not in the same house? Right? You know, you know, that's you know, it's like
I stopped at 1, so I don't know.
And I ain't got none that I know of, right? So,
So you guys are getting
that, like, I think.
I think
you guys are, go ahead, Walter.
I think that the issue is a lot of people think that folks have abortions as a form of birth control versus a decision that they're making for themselves. You know, people say, well, you're killing a baby. No, you're not killing a baby, right?
That's where I was
Does
going
a
to get.
baby have a tax ID number? No. A life insurance claim on it? No. Can you claim on your taxes? No.
See, Coach, I disagree with you on that. And I'm not trying, this would probably be the proudest moment of my mother's life as a Catholic right now. But you know what? I do think legitimately that it is a life. Like, why do we mourn miscarriage if we don't think that it is a life? So yes, there is no tax ID and there's no insurance. To your point about not being used as birth control, I'm going to say something controversial. I'll probably lose my job when this comes out. But, you know, I have a good friend who's a gynecologist, and she talks about the number of women who are upper middle class women who have less melanin than us, who don't want to be on the pill. And they have numerous abortions from college, and then around 40, they struggle with pregnancy.
High school. There were a lot of abortions in high school.
Yeah. So we also need to talk about what abortion means within cultures, right? So yes, there are many people who make it's a tough decision and no one should have to make that. But there are other groups of people who are like, the third one's free.
Right.
Yeah, and the older white men who are split a lot of times, like, you are opposed to abortion for
everybody else.
Exactly. But when your mistress gets
I
pregnant,
was just gonna say, right? Unless your mistress,
when your daughter gets pregnant,
Right.
Yeah.
When your
You
mistress
don't want to ruin your life with the kid, right? That's normally how the reasoning goes. I'm married, like I can't have a kid with you, side piece.
or you should probably not have the affair. But I mean, here we are.
Right. How about that? How about
just
that could all be solved.
Life ahead of you, like you don't want to ruin it with a kid, even though kids are a blessing and a gift from God.
Some days, not every day.
Right?
I mean, I might be way out of mainstream on this one because me and children, we don't get along. I don't.
Children are gonna stop you from living your best life. You can't bring the baby onto the yacht.
God bless you. And that's exactly it right there. Like when you have children, your life stops being about you, and like you become the frame in your own
If
picture.
you are a good parent. Clarify that. Because some people's lives don't stop.
Yeah, you have to be ready to just sacrifice.
It's a huge sacrifice, and it's like a massive undertaking. And I think far too often the people who end up doing it do it without any regard for that. And you've created this whole life now that might end up in foster care system or so on and so forth. So I'm like, I think, hell, if you want to get that abortion, go ahead, do it.
Yeah, and I mean, because I hate to say this, but I mean, I think there are women who look at it as like, I can't create a life that this child deserves.
Yeah.
Child is going to be miserable.
And I think that's a very like reasonable and ethical.
I think it's
A lot
courageous.
of people are just like, I can't do it.
Like,
You
it's
don't.
not fair to have them.
It's
here.
not fair to this child for them to be brought into my life as it is. Like that kind of thought. Like it's not like.
But I also worry about the historical ramifications of things, because I agree. Like there are a lot of people who should just stop in general, in all aspects, right? But we need to also talk about like the serialization acts that are in our history, right? We need to talk about indigenous peoples. So, there is also, conversations when we're talking about abortion about genocide, right? And I do think that needs to be part of the discussion. I mean, I think having a kid in this world, I think being a minority and having a child, I think that is a courageous act, because you are raising a child in a world where people are out to destroy them. So, I mean, all I'm saying is I think we should be open to both sides, and I'm glad that it is an option. But I also think that people who are maybe more I never thought I'd be the person saying this tonight. Like people who are more pro-life, like I don't think it makes them an anathema or something weird. I mean, I think there's beautiful. Like today, my daughter's on my nerves. Tomorrow, I might really be loving her again, and it was worth it.
I think it's okay to be pro-life, but as you said, that's for yourself.
Yeah.
I was taught, I don't know, maybe my teacher was super progressive when I was in high school, but I was taught that pro-life means you are opposed to all abortion, and pro-choice means that you are in support of any choice, your choice, another person's choice. So if that person wants to have an abortion, you're okay with it. And for you, it's a no, you'll never do it. That's fine. I thought that's how pro-choice was classified.
That's how I was taught.
Yeah.
Well, in Brooklyn, St. Vincent Farah, like pro-life was the choice you made for yourself.
Okay.
Pro-choice was not an option. But I think that, I mean, at least for me, like to me, the moment of conception, that is a child. But I don't have the right to tell anybody what to do with their bodies. And I believe everybody has, like, it's none of my business. And I don't judge anybody. And I have friends and family who've had abortions, and I have no judgment.
Yeah, we all know people who've had abortions for sure.
All a very individual choice, because everybody's life is different. And
none of my business.
It's
Nope.
Not your business.
I don't care.
And you know what? It's very easy also for us to say, like I could be pro-life right now, like whatever, but if I got knocked up tomorrow, I don't know, we might be making some other decisions, okay? Grayson's about to be 12, so we gotta.
You see the finish line? Is that what that is?
Yeah, I see the finish line. I'm not sure. Maybe I could just be handing out babies to all of you. You can't.
So all of this obviously is going to be relitigated as these fetal heartbeat laws pass states, and they're going to make their way up to the Supreme Court, right? Eventually, our 6-3 conservative Supreme Court is going to have to rule on Roe. I think that's why these fetal heartbeat laws are being passed, so we can have some sort of a definitive either affirmation or revocation of Roe. So it's not going anywhere. We think that as a result of Roe, and obviously the kind of sort of chipping away of it pretty much since the beginning, right? Casey, Gonzalez v. Carhart, et cetera. how Roe was the one standard, and then we've actually passed laws since then trying to, chip away at it to be like, yeah, like these are restrictions on abortion. We're gonna reach that point again. I guess my last thing on it, or last point to get what you guys think about it, is if it was, I don't want to say you ladies, because I think you guys know what you guys would do with your own bodies. Is it something that you would recommend? Your daughter is, we got somebody that's got a teen that's coming up. So let's say your daughter's 16. She's sexually active. Maybe you supported that. Maybe you were wholly against it. Walter, you're about to adopt. What do you say?
Say about what? About the pregnancy?
She's 16. She's pregnant. What do you do?
I throw her down the stairs.
It's a family conversation.
I'm sorry. Wow.
But it's a family conversation, right?
Yeah.
That's the Trinidadian answer to teen pregnancy.
That she needs to keep the child will be cared for. You know what I mean? It changes the plans, it'll make it more difficult for her to go to college. Maybe she'll go to state school instead of going out of state.
But it can be done. I got friends who had babies at 15, 16, and they're in their 30s now, and they're
all support
life, doing exceptionally well, like outdoing everyone. Yeah, I agree. I think it's a personal choice for even if the child is 16. If she wants to keep it, then my life is gonna get real hard because now I'm gonna take care of 2 kids.
Right.
Raise a
Oh,
child.
you're a good mom. You would be taking care of. Oh,
I was gonna say it was mine, and you want to keep it. Just don't call me. I'm not babysitting at no.
That's
I would love to take that stance, but I just know me. I'm a huge softie. There's no way I could watch if I have a child and she's struggling to be a mom.
That's the hard part, right?
Sit there and be
Well, when you get to 14 and 15, you may feel a different kind of way about.
I might. I don't know. I'm
sensitive.
just thinking of who I am and how
Right.
Well, if she got up from the stairs,
But she, wow.
I would support the journey.
And you
But-
put your baby down
Ladies and
again.
gentlemen,
Don't lie.
Nicole,
Right back down.
childhood advocate, her views are her own. We do not.
No, I would like to think
Podcast has nothing to do with throwing pregnant teenagers down the stairs. Like
I joke it would be a stumble.
Butter on the floor right in front of the steps. I got you.
Look, if you don't watch how you walk, that's not me. But anyway,
Banana peel comes from.
and it looks like you lost the baby. Damn it.
I mean, but I do think, like, Autumn, you raise a good point. There are some great parents, right, who've raised kids and their kids are amazing. Yeah, I mean, I think
Whole village of support. I don't think that there's a 16-year-old anywhere that is like equipped and capable and ready to do the job of parent.
no, I don't think there's any age where you're capable of doing that. I'm sorry, I don't care.
I don't believe that too. Honestly, I'm on the same page.
I mean, like I had G. I was married. He's shit, but that's a different podcast. I mean, I swear to God, for the first 3 months, and you're gonna know this, Coach. Okay, the first 3 months, I was waiting for her real parents to come pick her up. Like I was like, when are they coming? And I love this kid, and we wanted this kid. Okay, but I was like, oh, like someone's coming. So I don't think there's a right age. I think it's about support networks, and I think that's why, just to bring this intelligently back, like, we are making a move in child welfare to have family protective environments, because we need to create environments where people are supported, and we need to stop this narrative that parenting is a beautiful thing, because it can be, but it can also be a hard thing, an ugly thing, an awful thing. And there are days, I'm gonna put this out here, maybe she'll need therapy, but there are days where you just don't like your kid, okay? And you just don't want to deal with it. And I think people need to be honest about that.
All the time.
They do.
I know the happiest of moms where I will like see them with their kids and be like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. And these are friends who'll be like, yeah, I love my children. I love babies, but babies also ruin your life. So wait, and I'm like,
God damn,
mom.
God damn it, Autumn. We already have moms who listen to this show super pissed at us And now here you go.
No, moms are like thankful
No.
and appreciative. Like, we need to stop this crap. Not everybody has a beautiful pregnancy. Okay, not every mom crafts, and not everybody wakes up every morning being like, oh God, I'm just so excited that my child shat themselves in bed and I have to clean this
all
up.
the time. I mean, that's awesome, but not everyone feels like that.
No.
Moms that are pissed. I mean, a lot of times
Moms are pissed. Moms are super pissed at us.
they're pissed at something abstract that they can't control, so they take it off the nearest person who doesn't agree with.
Where are we?
That's fine. But no, I was gonna say like adoption is also a very real thing.
Yeah.
For like a young mom who's not ready. You know, like there are beautiful couples who'd be amazing parents.
Yep.
Baby, and for whatever reason, you know, are struggling with conception, and that sucks. But you know, adoption is a choice, and you know, it's an option for sure. And you have to like completely be removed from the baby's life if the other family is willing to work with you. I mean, there's so many different things, and they're all extremely hard. None of them.
And let's talk about how we say adulthood has extended, or like adolescence, right, to 25, 26.
Mm-hmm.
So we're really like, let's talk about the economy. We're really not in a place like our parents' generation by our ages. I mean, we're all very young looking, but like, you know, maybe they had homes and all these things that were rights of adulthood.
Have credit scores.
Yeah, that's cute, right? Like all those things, Nicole, right? Like, do we have them anymore?
No. Children in this particular economy, it's brave. Like,
yeah, like it's hard to function as an adult on your own, like as far as finances go, unless you happen to be very privileged, unless you're benefiting from generational wealth or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So having a kid it's a privilege to be able to
it's almost a privilege.
life and take care of it in any way that you know, need to. And if you are extremely happy every day to be a parent, you probably got some privilege going on. You probably have a nanny. You probably
But,
you got help. You got all the support you need, whether it's financial or from other people. So
that's an excellent point, Autumn. Ranty, you said it was brave. And I kind of sort of see where you guys are coming from, and maybe
it's a flex. For some people, the ability to have a bunch of kids, they're trying to stunt on the world. Like, I have 5 children and I'm still okay. Like
that Baldwin lady, that Hilaria Baldwin with like the 600 kids that they have, Alec Baldwin's wife.
What about the lady who's just about to give birth to 10 children in
we saw that's a blessing.
I'm sorry, 10 of what?
10 kids one time. Guinness Book of World Records.
10 babies in her belly at one time.
10 babies in her belly,
It does not bounce back, ladies. It does not bounce back.
Oh my God.
You're gonna have to rejuvenate the hell of that with goop.
Listen, my client, her stomach is flat as tomorrow.
Huh?
Her legs are crazy big, but her stomach is flat.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about rejuvenating other things.
Yeah.
Because 10 things can't be coming out of that.
Some things, that's gonna be a tough recovery. I'm gonna
come back from that in a couple of months, man.
Months? That's years. 10 kids, I'm done. I'm living in sweats. Did you see What's Eating Gilbert Grape? That would be my story. What's Eating Nicole?
What you guys say? What you guys say about the kids and privilege and stuff like that, I think is very real. And probably a good way to close, because we're seeing birth rates are declining across the Western world, right?
Yeah.
People are deciding not to have kids. But where are birth rates exploding? Third world countries, right?
Okay, but we can also talk about,
let's live on.
You know, present company excluded, but as a single woman, we need to also talk about what's out here.
Okay.
There's a reason why
because some of it's an island of misfit toys, so that's not
exactly. A lot of that is like, I know that I would be a great mom.
Yeah,
and I would like to be a wife when I'm a mom.
I can recommend you guys. I know a great guru who talks about that stuff.
We
I
should
know
come
a
back
great
on that.
dude who talks about that stuff. His name is Kevin Samuels. You might have to
Stop. Don't you dare.
you might want
I
to
love it. I love it.
Now
end
that
on that.
find a guy who would be an amazing dad, but I'm like an amazing husband.
I mean, I just kind of, I'm at the point, if I were ever to have a child, like, again, I mean, I do have one, I'm not getting rid of her at this point. Where it's like, can't you just find someone that you're like, I genuinely like you as a person and I want to co-parent with you and we could just be cool?
If I could do that, that would work.
That would be amazing for me. Like, I don't
people are
need to
doing
be
that.
married and you don't need to live with me every day. Can we
I
just?
think most people would settle for that. The
Yeah.
issue is, will the society settle for it, right? We talked with my sister with Mocha Moms, and like, you know, they were like, I think somebody asked, maybe Lindsay, maybe you, Nicole, Baltimore, like about single moms, like people who chose to be single, like in the group. And she was like, yeah, we have them. So it was like, yeah, that didn't seem like a resounding, like,
Yeah.
hey, go for it, lady. So I think a lot of that is societal, right?
It is
Oh, I
societal.
know
And a
there's-
lot of
As somebody who is waiting for his Xfinity be set back up at his house and watches a ton of paternity court, I think there are a lot of people who would just be for, hey, we don't even need to be married. Let's just have these kids and make it happen. The
That's
problem is,
But Quasi, when you were in
like,
college, I don't mean to put your business out there, but do you remember what your college plan for children was?
uh-oh.
what was it?
What?
Can I
uh-oh.
put your business? You can cut this out. Quasi's
No, put it
plan
out
in
there.
college was he was going to make a bunch of babies with a girl, and then he would decide if he would marry her after they had their kids.
What?
together.
And that is what happens when you make decisions at a very young age. That's what happens.
So-
Your brain is not fully formed.
So we now know that, but we know how I ended up. Actually, our co-founder of this very enterprise that we're on, that's exactly what he did. He had kids first. John. That's what John did, right? He had kids first.
Oh, I was like, oh, who?
He was with us. So the co-founder of Killing the Bees, our homeboy John Van Amber, he had kids first.
He had
And
one
with
kid
his
first.
partner.
He had one kid first.
And then they were like, okay, like, you know, this has worked out. Let's get a house together and live with the kid. And they're like, okay, this
I'm
has
too
worked out.
type A for that kind of lifestyle.
And then
That's
they're like,
fine.
okay, this has worked out. Let's get married. And so they literally did it in reverse, right? We'll have the kid first. If we can survive the kid, that's one thing. Okay, can we survive the kid?
I'm not
living
saying
together?
nothing. I'm putting my video off because my
Whatever.
face gets me in trouble. So
And
I
then
have
the third thing was, okay, we survived the kid. We survived living together with the kid.
That's-
That's married.
That's gambling. Like they were literally gambling there. And you know what? I guess it pays off sometimes.
If it works
I
for
mean,
them,
well,
then that's
hey, Randy, think about the traditional way though. How often is that working out?
That's what I'm saying. Like if you work out back first, then you know what? Have at it.
Yeah, how that'll work
doing
out.
what works best for you and making it like making life choices based off of what society expects from you.
Yeah,
I mean, that's great for pictures
yeah.
and that's great on paper, but there are so many people in this world who are doing what society wants them to do, and they are miserable.
Rebel.
They are so miserable,
miserable.
and they're so good at acting like they're happy.
Oh, that's the entire story of Nigeria.
When you talk to them, oh no, they're singing a whole other tale. Like all these.
And let's just talk about COVID-19 bringing out a lot of challenges in people's relationships.
Yeah,
A lot of things.
yeah.
Brought out the truth.
And on that,
It's like,
on that-
okay, we saw
on that-
what we're seeing now. It's been going on all along, but now it's heightened with
on that note, we'll end the abortion conversation. We started to go off there. What's funny